Україна.
Welcome to the X Global News Channel. On the fronts, at the end of December, there is little change. There is a local success in the settlement of Bakhmutskoye, south of Soledar, where Russian troops took a stronghold of the armed forces of Ukraine. Marinka, Kurdiamovka, Krasnogorovka, Vodiane, Opatny, and so on, heavy fighting without much progress. There is an opinion that the losses of the armed forces of Ukraine near Artemivsk will not allow them to hold the city for a long time, as there is a small army there. They will go to great lengths to hold the defenses, and they have the reserves to do so. Artemivsk has become politically crucial, and they will hold on to it with their teeth. Artemivsk is Mariupol version 2.0. It's a shame about the city. In Luhansk Oblast, the Ukrainian armed forces are trying to reinforce their positions in the forests near Kremenna, attacking near Dybrova from the west and Kuzmino from the south. The Russian armed forces are fighting back. At the same time, units are attacking to the north, near Krasnopopovka and on Nevskoy. Near Kramatorsk, the Russian armed forces hit a reserve brigade command post by the UK armed forces. Explosions were reported in Kharkov, Kherson, and Artemivsk. The Russians located a position of the VOA Ukrainian forces in Netolovo, from where they were shelling Donetsk. Their strike at this position destroyed the M777 artillery system together with its crew. However, the Ukrainian armed forces continued shelling Donetsk from other locations throughout the day. The media in the U.S. say that Republicans, who will take control of the U.S. House of Representatives in early January, are divided over giving Kyiv further aid. Some of them are worried about excessive spending, and there are also isolationist supporters among them. Yes, perhaps they will tighten control over the aid, and perhaps even reduce it. But have no illusions, they will not stop helping Ukraine in this conflict. In Russia, Prime Minister Mishustin said that the government plans to check the spending of funds for the needs of special operations, repair and production of weapons, military and special equipment, purchase of fuel. Personal responsibility is needed. Today, First Deputy Prime Minister Andrei Belousov said that the authorities do not see the point in creating a mobilization economy in Russia. The country has reserves and levers to solve all the tasks. Yes, control over Russia's armament and supplies to the Russian army has been reinforced. There are attempts to revive the Russian defense industry complex, and even special bodies have been created. But so far there are problems with the supply to the front. These major problems manifest themselves in absolutely all spheres. From clothing to tanks. Most ordinary soldiers get their equipment not from the hands of the military, but from ordinary citizens from all over Russia who supply the Russian army. Since it was recently claimed that somewhere in the Russian army 150,000 military uniforms were missing, which should have been worn by mobilized citizens. Corruption in the Russian Federation has reached some gigantic proportions. Even the entire Great Soviet Army has been stolen. Toward the end of 2022 there is some kind of lull. Everyone is in anticipation of a cold winter. The ground will become hard and the passability of military equipment, especially tanks, will be many times greater. General of Ukraine Zaluzhnyi has already stated in an interview that a new secret operation is being prepared. Naturally, he did not say where and where they will go. But three directions are obvious. The first direction is the city of Melitopol. The capture of Melitopol will divide the Russian army into two parts, as well as leave the supply of weapons and food to the island of Crimea. For the Russian army, the loss of Melitopol is a disaster of cosmic proportions. It would almost be the end of the war. Thus the army is divided into two parts. Crimea and the Kherson region will be given up, and the Zaporozhye region will be under full control of the Ukrainian army. Also the capture of Melitopol will allow for better control of the Donetsk region, where the Russian army has settled in since 2014, when it created independent people's republics there. The second direction for the Ukrainian armed forces to attack is the Luhansk region. It will allow one area to be repulsed and begin to control many areas in Russia, allowing any Russian supply to the Donetsk and Luhansk regions to be destroyed. The third direction and unlikely one is Moscow. Yes, the Ukrainian armed forces could take a risk and attack Moscow through the Belgorod region. But this is a risky move, as Moscow is several hundred kilometers away. But if the plan succeeds, it will be the end of the war. So that would be the capture of the Kremlin. But then, Russian President Vladimir Putin can use nuclear weapons according to the rules of the Constitution of the Russian Federation. And, as we remember, Russia has more than 5,000 ready-made nuclear warheads that they inherited from the Soviet Union. No one knows which of the attack options will be chosen by Ukrainian General Zelensky. Only the General Staff of Ukraine and Zelensky himself know. In any case, they should not put military action on pause, and the Ukrainians understand that. Because any pause now is a very profitable acquisition for Vladimir Putin. He can use this pause to negotiate or prepare for a new offensive by Belarus, which he used to attack Kiev back at the beginning of the military operation specifically. If the pause is long enough, he can move all the new military equipment and 300,000 soldiers to that territory and try to take Kiev again in the spring. This time it will be harder for him, but he will also prepare many times more equipment and people. Therefore, the Ukrainian troops should in no case delay with new attacks, but only build up their potential. And they have a lot to build up potential with. Because Zelensky's recent visit to Washington was successful and they signed a new contract with Biden to supply weapons and ammunition, which are vital for Ukraine right now. Also, Finland may be the first to supply Ukraine with Leopard 2 tanks, Finnish MPs Anders Adlercreutz and Ed Harjanne said. According to them, the transfer of even a small number of tanks will lay the basis for the discourse on the need to supply Western tanks to other European countries as well. Ukraine also intends to develop air-to-air drones, Ukrainian Minister of Digital Transformation Fedorov said. He predicted more missions with strike drones in the future, but did not detail exactly where that would be. And as we know, in Russia, almost every day some enterprise or shopping mall explodes. But no one knows for sure whether it is Ukrainian drones or Putin's Russian opponents who are trying to prevent him from waging this useless war on the Russian people. There are also two interesting pieces of news about the UN and nuclear weapons. Ukraine's proposal to exclude the Russian Federation from the UN Security Council received little support. The Estonian Foreign Ministry said this, noting that most member states of the UN Security Council do not share Ukraine's approach to the issue of Russia's membership in the organization. Accordingly, the issue of Russia's exclusion, according to the Estonian Foreign Ministry, is practically futile at the moment. Russia will use nuclear weapons if defeated in a war, Italian Defense Minister Guido Crosetto told Fatto Quotidiano. The use of tactical nuclear weapons is planned by Russia. For us it's unthinkable, but for Moscow, yes, if the point of no return is passed, if they risk defeat. In short, the danger is potentially there, though very unlikely, he added. At the same time, he assured that Italy will continue to support Ukraine, including the provision of military assistance. As we have said before, yes, there is a possibility of using nuclear weapons if the Ukrainian troops start to capture Moscow or, as Guido Crosetto believes, the Russian army suffers a major military defeat. But it is not certain that Vladimir Putin will let his own military generals use these nuclear weapons. That's the end of our video. Give it a like. Write your opinion in comments. Subscribe to the channel to continue following our new videos. Thank you for your attention. See you soon.